everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber, but welcome if you are new. My name is Ellie and I recently completed the Disney Cultural Representative Program where I worked in Epcot. If you've been watching every video in the series and me for a long time, then you will already know that, and you're probably already bored of me saying it, but you know, I've got to give some context. I basically completed the Disney Cultural Representative Program and I had a lot of people message me to do basically some help videos, and this week's video is going to be about your CV. I must get messages about Disney CV nearly every week, and honestly, I don't even know what the right thing to do is. I'm just gonna tell you what I did and advice I've been given from other people, and hopefully that should help you out and guide you a little bit. But obviously, I don't know what Disney are looking for. I have like absolutely no credit, nothing. Like, this is just what I'm guessing. So the first thing that I would say about not just your CV for the Cultural Representative Program, just any CV for any job in general, is that to be concise, to the point, be descriptive, but don't use ridiculous descriptive words that you don't know the meaning of, because it is a true reflection of yourself. So if you're going to be there using all of these amazing words that you found on thesaurus.com, make sure that you would use them in an interview, because your CV is going to be a reflection of you. Saying that, I wouldn't really have things in paragraphs. I would do it in bullet points and have each bullet point is a maximum of 2 sentences in each. The only thing that I would have as a paragraph personally would be like your about me section at the top, and even then I'd do like maybe 4 lines maximum. You really don't want to be waffling in your CV, because you really want it to be about the clear experience that is relevant to the program. Because if you're waffling along, if I was looking at CVs, I'd read 2 sentences and be like, I'm bored, like on to the next one, and you'd be in the no pile. I'd make sure that your relevant experience is at the top. If you are, I don't know, maybe 25, 26, you could have been working for up to 10 years at that point, so that's a lot of years of experience and a lot of jobs and stuff, so you want to try and fit it all on your CV, but they might not have enough time to read through 2 pages of experience, so I'd put the most relevant stuff at the top in case they decide to not read the end. At least they've read the most important stuff. Showing your love for Disney is important, but showing your enthusiasm for your culture is even more important, because even though it is a job working at Disney World, the job is cultural representative, so it's very important that you show anything that might be relevant to that. So are you representing your local football team? Do you work at your local library? Like, anything that represents your culture or where you're from is going to be really important and really relevant to the program. Obviously Disney is important too, but it's important that you don't go off on like a crazy tangent about how you've been to Disney World a million times. I wouldn't even talk about culture and Disney that much in your CV. That's more what you can talk about in your cover letter, and especially your questions that you have to answer, but I'll talk about that in the next couple of videos. One thing I always did is I'd always get other people to read my CV, because silly things like spelling mistakes, like you might have spelled something really silly wrong. I said this in my last video and you might have read it so many times that you've skipped past it. I'd always print it out and annotate it, highlight all the good things, annotate all the things that I thought were waffle, move things around, and I think it's really good to see it on a page, because you don't know what Yummy Jobs might do. They might print everything out and look at everything on the page instead of digitally. One thing that I will say is food and beverage experience is really important. Disney are looking for people with food and beverage experience. It's not completely necessary, because they do have the merchandise program as well. I had like 2-3 years of merchandise experience and I didn't get anywhere with a couple of interviews, but as soon as I got food and beverage experience, that's when I got the job. So they take more people on in food and beverage than merchandise. It's like probably like 80% to 20% sort of thing. Nah, that's probably too much. Like maybe 60-40 or 70-30. Essentially, they take more people on in food and beverage, so they're looking for more people with food and beverage experience. So having that food and beverage experience is important. If you don't have it, try and go out and get some. Why not? That's what I did and it worked for me. You might actually end up really enjoying it. Or, you know, just showcase what experience you do have. So if you do have merchandise experience, make sure it's really good and make sure you really like accentuate and use all of those amazing words to make it sound fantastic. Do you have any career gaps on your CV? Like, were you at university where you couldn't work, so you studied instead? Like, is that something that you have put on your CV? They're looking for someone who could be committed to a role, because you are going to be living abroad at the end of the day, so they don't want someone who's going to be flaky. Are you comfortable living abroad? Perhaps you've done something like Camp America, or you've done the Disney summer program before. These are all things that you should 100% be putting on your CV, because they can see that you are comfortable living in the US and you are able to represent the UK and your culture really well because you've done it before. All these things are relevant and they should be in your CV, cover letter, and your questions. You need to make sure that you have a good and clear layout. You don't want the words to be all jumbled. You don't want to make it difficult to read. I would have everything in lines, everything in boxes, like make everything really clear. Like, you don't want someone to be looking all over the page like this, because it's just so difficult. You just want it in clear bullet points with headers, bold, underline, whatever you want to do, but just make it super clear so they can just literally read down like this. On mine, I did put like a teeny tiny picture on the top. Obviously, you have to submit a picture of yourself anyway with Yummy Jobs, but I thought it was just nice to put there to reiterate that I do comply to that Disney look, and I was smiling and I made it like really positive to be like, I'm a really positive person. Please hire me, Disney. At one point, I do think I had like little tiny Mickeys as well, and I mean like really tiny. I can't remember if I kept them on in the end. I think I did keep them on for the final one. Obviously, I wouldn't go crazy overboard with loads of Disney stuff, but you know, that might have helped where I put like little ones. I would just try and stick to your relevant experience. Is the old stuff relevant? Is the new stuff more important? Like I said, if you've been working for 10 years, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of stuff. I know I could write a lot of stuff about 10 years of working, but you just really need to make sure that you're only putting your relevant stuff on there, because like I said, they are probably going to stop reading at some point if it's 5 pages long. I'd really accentuate and really like pull forward those things that are really relevant to the program. So like food and beverage, merchandise, culture, interacting with people, giving good guest service, being a positive, friendly, outgoing person. These are all things that are going to help you get into the program. At the end of the day, it is a job application. You will be working a normal job. You're going to be working full-time hours every week in the heat, so you need to treat it like a proper job application, as if you were going to work in an office or something completely normal compared to working in a pub in the middle of Florida. So it is super important that you treat it as a job application, not just like, oh, it's going to be a fun year away, which obviously it is going to be a fun year away, but you need to go through all of the same steps as what you would with a normal job. You could always use templates from online. People message me a lot like, I don't know how to lay out my CV. Well, just lay it out like a regular CV. If you go online on Google, there is so many different ways you can lay out your CV. I literally just did mine on my MacBook and put it in little boxes, so then I could just move everything around as I wished, and as I added stuff and as I took stuff away. That made it really easy for me. Once you physically have the content right, so when your words are all perfect, that's when you can then faff with everything and make it look beautiful, because there's no point faffing with it and then you take a sentence away so it doesn't fit perfectly on the page anymore. You might as well wait until that content is 100% awesome. One thing I really struggled was getting myself across through this application and through my CV. I felt like as soon as I met them in person, I'd be able to really explain how passionate I am about doing this program and working for Disney and culture and everything that it stands for, and I really struggled to get that across on paper. And that's when I started to add like picture in of myself, the little Mickeys, all of my experience and stuff, and that's when I started to look at things in a different way, because you need to remember that your CV is a reflection of you. Without meeting you, they don't know what your voice sounds like, they don't know what your interests are, what you do at the weekends. Like, this is all they have is your CV. So it's really important that you put as much of yourself into that. If you put your little print on it, then hopefully that should be your ticket in. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about your CV for the Disney CRP. It's really difficult to completely put my finger on what is good to do and what isn't good to do, because everybody is different as individuals. If I said to you, these are your 3 steps that you need to do and then you will get into the program, everyone would be doing it. So a lot of the time it is like trial and error. I'd print mine all the time and annotate it, highlight it, give it to other people, and they'd read it for me and they'd give me feedback and stuff. So it is really important to keep doing that, and I really believe if you want something that much, it will happen for you. So perseverance is absolutely key. Yeah, that pretty much concludes my CV tips. If you have any other questions, any other suggestions, or anything you want me to talk about, please put it down in the comments below or message me on Instagram. It's just going to be @EllieBrown. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.